Jake's has some very deep roots in Treasure Beach because my grandparents built a house here in 1941, 80 years ago. Um, so my grandparents who came in the 20s to Jamaica settled in Mandeville, and they built a little cottage called Treasure Cot on Calabash Bay in 1941, 80 years ago. So we have very deep roots here. In 1993, my mother started Jake's as a restaurant. And in 95, I joined her and we bought the land next door and started to build rooms. So, you know, Jake's is a boutique hotel. We also have cottages and villas. We also operate Jack, Sprat and Lover's Leap. Our hotel stands alone because Jake's was created by an artist, my mother, not by an architect, not by you know, the traditional way of how a hotel would evolve. You know, my mother is a very whimsical, very bohemian artist. She loves Anthony Gaudi from Spain. She loves Jamaican architecture. So it's really her brainchild. She's the founder, the creator, and the one that we really honor for Jake's being so unique, so diverse, so inspirational. So we don't think of our competitors, so to speak. We just think of how special we are and how much Jake's means to persons around the world. Customers can experience an incredibly warm and efficient staff. We call ourselves the Jake's family. We're a 150 member team. Extremely warm. We do a lot of training, particularly in customer service. And you know, you get to submerge yourself into this incredible fishing village known as Treasure Beach. We have an incredibly strong relationship with the fishermen and with tour guides in the area. We've worked alongside many of them for years to get them trained and certified and compliant. You know, we offer mountain biking, we offer hiking, we offer trips to Lover's Leap and hiking down the mountain, fishing trips, you know, going up the Black River, going to Wyas Falls, going to Appleton Estate, going out to the Pelican Bar, of which we were the early believers in when it first started. So it really gives you a real in-depth look at how this destination, which has become a model for community tourism and sustainable development in the Caribbean, has evolved. I think what is wonderful about Jamaica is that every parish is different. Every parish has a different feel, a different look, different offerings. And I'm never one to bash the larger resort areas. Montego Bay, Negril, Chirios all offer very special experiences. But I think if you look at Port Antonio, if you look at up in the Blue Mountains, and if you look at Treasure Beach, the thing that they have in common is that they're low density. So they haven't lost their sense of community, and that it hasn't been overrun, so to speak, by mass market tourism, by commercial tourism. So I think that's something that Jamaica is incredibly fortunate to have. And Jake's has really championed the legislation of Jake's of Treasure Beach being the lowest density in the country. We're 30 rooms per acre, and the next lowest in Jamaica is 50 rooms per acre. So we're almost half of what the national average is. And that's an achievement that we had to advocate for, lobby for, justify. It took years to get it gazetted into law, but something that I think in the long run, people will learn to appreciate. And even during this period of COVID with social distancing, I think Treasure Beach will become even more appealing. So the way I look at it is that I was so blessed, my family were so blessed to discover Treasure Beach, to stumble upon Treasure Beach and how special it was. So I felt like we have a responsibility to protect it for future generations so that we grow at a sustainable level, um, but not get greedy, so to speak, and to overbuild and to spoil the very thing that makes it special. The greatest challenge is water supply, and it's something that we're working with the government on improving. Of course, the roads could be better, but the major challenge is water supply. The water pipes coming into Treasure Beach are about 50 to 60 years old. Um, so you have a lot of leaks, and the road has to constantly be dug up to repair leaks. Um, and of course, Treasure Beach has grown so much in the last 60 years. So we are in discussions with the government about seeing how the water supply can be improved. It's at a price of approximately 4 million US dollars. Um, so it's all about a public-private partnership and how you go about just building that consensus around how to improve the water supply. A lot of Jamaicans and expatriates have discovered Treasure Beach since COVID. They may have heard of it before, but a lot of Kingstonians, Montagonians came and really spent time in Treasure Beach during the pandemic and realized how special it is. Um, so we really are fortunate for having such a strong Jamaican and expatriate following. They've really kept us going. It has been challenging time for us as a business, for the Jakes family. The fortunate thing is that most of our staff live on family land, so they don't have a mortgage. A lot of our staff do farming, whether it's crops or livestock. Um, so we were able to ride through the storm. The government, of course, came forward with the care package, which we were very fortunate for. One of our guests did a GoFundMe program that raised close to $10 million from our former guests who supported it. So that went a far way. Um, so, we're very fortunate that we've been able to meet these challenging times, and we're looking forward to a bright winter season for 2021-2022. I think the future for hospitality in St. Elizabeth is very bright. Um, as long as we stick with this low density approach, as long as we keep training our staff, as long as we keep improving our product, building more villas, building more cottages and nice restaurants, I see it as having a very bright future. Train persons and look at new niches within the tourism space to meet that challenge. The thing that we're proudest of at Jake's is that 100% of our staff are from St. Elizabeth, and most are actually from Treasure Beach itself. So we have worked with them to meet the demands of the guest of today, which is different than it was 5 years ago, much different than it was 10 years ago. So having high-speed internet for everyone to be able to be watching Netflix at the same time is no longer a luxury. It's what is expected, and you must have it. It's not even a question. So, being on top of our customer service, anticipating the guest experience and needs is something that we really pride ourselves on, and we've won a lot of international and local awards for that. For being one of the top family hotels in the Caribbean, and we have won an award from the Telegraph newspaper in England for being one of the best hotels under $200 a night. So those are two awards in very recent times. We consistently win TripAdvisor awards. We're the number one TripAdvisor rated property in Treasure Beach. And it really keeps you motivated, keeps the staff motivated. We have a very good gratuity plan for our staff, right? And that it really is a family and that there's a bond. So they get to know the names of the staff, they go to their homes, they learn dominoes from them, they go fishing with them, they go mountain biking with them, they get to learn their families. So they develop a relationship and a bond that is incredibly special. And that's why a hotel of our size was able to raise $10 million during the pandemic to distribute to our staff equally. And that's something that, you know, we don't take for granted. And we're very, very incredibly grateful for. I guess it was destiny, because I remember coming to my grandfather's cottage as a little boy and being right here on this beach in Calabash Bay and learning how to surf, body surf, or as the locals would say, shot wave. And we would be in the sea for hours and hours and hours every day. And you know, when I saw my mother start this restaurant, I was in banking, I was in investment banking. I was probably one of the youngest branch managers in Jamaica's banking system. I was 21 years old and managing Pan-Caribbean Merchant Bank in Montego Bay. And when I saw what my mother was doing, my heart just said to me, you know, this is an opportunity to basically, you know, tell the world about Treasure Beach, because it was really only German backpackers who were coming back then. There were no phone lines into Treasure Beach. The electricity was off more than it was on. The water was off more than it was on. And I said to myself, you know, this is an opportunity to build something from the ground up. Working, of course, with the government and your members of parliament and your councillors and the Tourism Enhancement Fund. And you know, when you look at what how Treasure Beach has evolved in that 28 years since we started Jake's, it's something that is deep. It's deep. It means a lot to us, you know. So sometimes I joke and say, you know, we intended to build a hotel, but we ended up building a community, you know, and we didn't do it alone, that's for sure. We had great partners, both governments. And I think, you know, through our foundation breads, we were able to also lobby for us to have a Treasure Beach Sports Park on 17 acres of land. We were able to build an airdrome and bring aviation to Treasure Beach. We were able to lease Lover's Leap from the government and to put a significant investment in it and to improve it. So that's somewhere that Jamaicans could be proud of. You know, creating a brand like Jack Sprat, which again, you know, locals gravitate to. So, you know, this is not something that we were building to sell. You know, I hope my children will inherit Jake's, and I hope that their children after them will inherit Jake's, and that we will keep passing this blessing on, you know, to future generations. And, you know, just a lot of the initiatives that we've done with the community, whether it's helping to improve education in the schools, helping kids to swim, you know, building a clinic, which we're involved in right now. You're always looking at new ways to improve things, first for the community, and then second for the visitor. The Treasure Beach Sports Park is on 17 acres of land, and we started this project in 2004, and we've been able to raise over $1.5 million US since then, to put in 4 football fields, a cricket oval, a community center, a military assault course for youth leadership. We've been able to put in a swimming pool to teach over 300 children how to swim. We have a tennis court, a netball court, a basketball court. So the Treasure Beach Sports Park hosts a lot of meetings. The Ministry of Health, the Police Training Academy has been using it a lot in their training. Recently we've had some boxing matches going on there and some boxing training. We've hosted many camps and clinics, and it's something that we really celebrate, being somewhat the center of the community when it comes to sport and sport for social change. So we've been able to get a lot of scholarships for youngsters going abroad to school. Um, we've had kite flying festivals over there. We've had Venus and Serena Williams visit us and do some tennis clinics there. We've had former NBA players come and do basketball clinics, and we have a clinic that hosts over 1,000 children every summer. So we're looking forward to getting back to that because we missed it because of the pandemic this year. So the sports park really is a place that youngsters feel so comfortable at, because if you learn a sport, you learn discipline, you learn teamwork. Particularly, I find with swimming, when we built the swimming pool and started to teach kids how to swim, it really elevated their level of confidence, and they were seeing themselves differently in that they overcame a major hurdle. Because not knowing how to swim, let us say if you're 10 years old and learning, it's very intimidating, very scary. And once you work with the swimming instructors to overcome that fear, then the kid starts to walk with their face brighter and shoulders out, and they can now take on other challenges in their life. So you think you're really teaching them about swimming, but it's really a life skill that's going to stay with them for the rest of their life. The airdrome that we started in Treasure Beach was in 2010, and it's called the Lionel Dencham Airdrome, in honor of my granduncle, who was one of the first persons in Jamaica to own a private airfield in Santa Cruz over in Gilnock. So we wanted to honor him with that. And the government are in very advanced discussions with us about upgrading the airstrip and make it into a public airstrip to really drive Treasure Beach as a destination that has more access. So we are very pleased with how those discussions are going, and we know that it will help to make Treasure Beach reach its full potential. That is something that I'm very, very excited about. With regards to the health clinic, we're working very closely with the Treasure Beach Women's Group and a group of doctors from abroad, from Florida, who have been coming and doing a clinic here for the last 10 years. And the Member of Parliament has graciously made a cottage available that is beside the Sandybank Primary School, and we are fundraising to turn that into a full-time clinic, which will again serve first and foremost the members of the community, stakeholders of the community, residents. But of course, if a visitor is here and, God forbid, needs some medical attention, it will be here for the visitor. So in every decision we make, is it good for the local person? And then if it ticks that box, we go to the second box. Is it good for the visitor? And if you keep those two things in mind with pretty much every decision you make, after a while you end up earning the respect of being a model for community development. And that is what I'm so proud to have played a major part in doing. So my understanding is that the entire area was called Pedro, the Pedro Plains, and that there was a couple that came from Canada, and that the gentleman, the husband, had severe and chronic asthma, and they rented a guest house, and the man's asthma went, and they stayed longer, and apparently they were fairly wealthy and had traveled all around the world, and this is the only place where it went for an extensive period of time. So they bought land and built originally the Treasure Beach guest house, and the wife said, you found your treasure here. And from that they expanded the guest house into what is now the Treasure Beach Hotel. And she said, apparently it was the wife who said the area needs a prettier name than just Pedro. And the name caught on with people, Treasure Beach Hotel. And after a while, there was the Pedro Plains post office, and the population grew and they needed a post office closer to here. And once they called that the Treasure Beach post office, then it was confirmed that that would be the name forever. So what an incredible name to build on, Treasure Beach. I'm going to Treasure Beach. I live in Treasure Beach. I work in Treasure Beach. It is a God-given blessing that we live here, we work here, we improve here, and that we see living the rest of our life here. Well, that's a funny story because a friend of mine from Kingston was buying a car from an antique dealer in Billy's Bay called John Deere. And John Deere is a character. He has an antique. He's dealt in antiques in his entire life. So he asked me to come with him, and he organized this wrecker to take this car back to Kingston. So when I went with him, I saw this other car, which is a 1942 Ford Prefect, a Prefect that was built in England. And I said to John, I said, John, give me a good deal on this other car now. And he said, what you want to offer me? Offer me anything. I said, anything? He said, yeah, man, just offer me anything because the wrecker is already here. I said 200 US? I thought he would be very upset at me and offended. And he said, sure, just take it. So the wrecker dropped it off at Jake's right in the parking lot. And my mother is like, what is this? So I said, Mom, I got it for $200, and I'm going to fix it up one day and then we're going to, drive it around. And she kind of looked at me like, really? And then I must have gone away to Black River or something and came back and she had written Jake's all over the car. And, it was to become our iconic, sign. And then my mother has a crazy sense of humor. She just turned 80 years old and you would swear that she's 16 because a few days later she went and stuck 2 mannequins in the car and lights and she dressed them up. And so every now and then people will arrive at night and they see these 2 women in the car with the lights and they're like startled, and so it has really become a very unique sign, landmark, so to speak, in Treasure Beach. So many people pose and take pictures of that car every single day. So it's just one of those things how in life you end up thinking something is going to be one thing, but then it turns out to be the next. And I think in the long run, COVID is going to be ultimately something that shows how important Treasure Beach as a low-density destination is going to be, and that I really think that we're going to be a model for the world, and it's something I deeply believe, I'm committed to, and it's my life's work. Treasure Beach persons have their own way of speaking, right? Different than any other place. So an octopus in Treasure Beach is called a sea puss, right? So everything is named for the sea. So we have jellyfish, starfish, conch, coral, mussels, sweet lip. Now, a sweet lip fish may be called something different in another fishing village, but in Treasure Beach it's a sweet lip, right? We have seaweed, we have snapper, we have jellyfish and starfish. So everything is from the sea. We have hammerhead. So everything, the property has evolved to the tune of where we now have 75 rooms. And I think what is an important thing to understand is that some of the villas we own, like this one here, but there are others that we don't own. There are others who people have fallen in love with Treasure Beach, fallen in love with Jake's and asked us to find land for them. We've found land for them, we've found an architect for them, we've found construction companies to build it, and then we manage it for them. So we have 5 villas that we manage, and the truth is you wouldn't know that we don't own them because we treat them the same way that we would a villa that we do own. So in my mind, we've helped to bring persons into Treasure Beach, help them to invest. The the level of skill in the construction trade in Treasure Beach has increased significantly. The villas that the local gentlemen are building now, compared to what they were building even 10 or 20 years ago, is far different. The finishings, the level of fittings and furniture and equipment going into these villas are world class. And I truly think that Treasure Beach will continue along this path, and that we're going to literally be the #1 place in the Caribbean for persons to visit. I want them to remember the warmth of our staff. That's really what I would want them to remember. Because anybody can build something beautiful, but when you meet a member of staff who remembers your name, remembers what you like to drink, remembers your children's name, that's probably the most important thing that I guess that a staff can do. Look at your child and say, Max, Saya, welcome back. It's even more important than remembering your name, And what has been great is that our staff, the Jakes family, have seen guests who have stayed with us from they were dating to when they were married, to wanting a honeymoon suite, to having maybe one child and staying in a cottage, to maybe now they have 3, 4 children and they're staying in a villa. So it's been this journey where we have improved upon what we do. We've improved upon our offerings. We've improved through training our staff. And the philosophy is that a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So you want everybody's standard of living to go up. You want everybody to be proud of where they work, and that it's more than work, but it is their life. So again, doing these things with our Jakes family just makes everybody stronger, and that's something that I'm eternally grateful for.